Hi everyone.
Hi everybody.
So this is part 2 of the how to take care of your nails, how to start taking care of your nails, complete newbie edition part 2. So the whole purpose of doing these videos is to show you the most simple nail care that you start gradually, because gradually is easier than trying to achieve perfection with a first manicure. So you always want to start with the easiest steps. So in the previous video, we just started with shaping the nails, shortening the nails, and then caring for the skin around the nails. So this is not a cuticle. All this area is the skin around the nails. And when you have issue with that skin, start taking care of it. Don't try to start to remove it, cut it, file it, buff it, push it, whatever. Just try to take care of it so that skin is healthy. Once that skin is healthy, then we can move on to the next step. And he's been actually using the creams almost daily, the Kerasal, right? So as you can see, the skin around the nails is healthier. When I nudge it back, it's nice and elastic, okay? So now we can move on to the next step, but we're going to start with shortening the nails. So we're going to repeat what we did in the first video. And you know what? The nails are actually looking very good. And this is the key. This is one of the most important things that I find a lot of people just maybe don't think about. You want to do the manicure when the nails are still looking good. You don't want to wait until the nails are all broken, the skin is stretched, you have hangnails and things like that. You want to maintain the nails when they're still in a good condition. It makes things much, much easier to do. The manicure becomes quicker. And you will be much more successful and much happier with this whole thing. And you are more likely to continue. So I explained the shaping in a previous video. So if you want to, you can shaping and shortening. You can go back to the previous video if you want to, if you haven't seen it. So what I'm doing now is I'm just following the shape of the nail bed. And yes, not every nail is going to have the same shape of the nail bed. So of the pink part. But doing something in the middle, I find, is much more effective. So if one is more straight across, more square, the other one is more oval, then do it in between. So I actually clipped the nails the first time because they were long. But when you maintain your nails, there is no need for clippers. Actually, your nails grow pretty fast.
Yes.
Actually, it's been how many days? Because we did it on Friday last time. And today is Monday, so 7, 8, 9, 10 days, no? So yeah, it's, but you know, life happens. So do the best you can.
Yes.
But what I would do is I would stick to like a schedule. So let's say on every Sunday, you know, or Saturday, you're doing your nails. So if 1 week you do your nails on Monday, then keep doing it on Sunday again, right? Don't wait until Monday, and it just gets too confusing. I'm working with a pillow under my hand, so it's probably a little weird because you guys can see it moving. By the way, you can use whatever file you are comfortable with, whatever file you like. Some people like glass files. Some people like these files. Some people like metal files. I would say that my favorite files are the metal for sure at work, at the salon, because they are very easy to be disinfected. Although I started using these files and I started giving them to clients because these are one-time use only, like for clients, because you can't disinfect them properly. Because you know what, clients actually like them. And I actually teach people, I'm getting off topic here, to just when they have hard skin, not to pick, just go over a little bit to soften it. So they can use it for that. And also they can use it if they have any like broken nails or something. I think the teeth happen to this nail a little bit, huh?
Yeah. I stopped myself when I realized what I was doing.
When you realize that we have to do a video and the whole world is going to see a chewed up nail?
It's a very subconscious thing.
Yeah.
It happens and I don't even realize I'm doing it. All of a sudden it just kind of clicks. I'm like, oh no. I'm doing my best.
By the way, I'm going to use the coarser side now just to show you. The coarser side can be used very safely as well, and the finish is going to be very nice and smooth. But I will explain that in a second. The dark side is actually very nice for, or like 120 side, for pedicures as well. By the way, there are two things that you really need, other than, you know, your manicure tools when you're doing your nails. Number one is a good lighting. So I would invest in a good lamp. Actually, the little lamps, so I'm using daylight lamp. They're expensive. They're like over 100 euros. But
I think in the US they're about
150 or something, no?
127?
Okay.
Something along those lines.
But the little Melody Susie lamp is also very good because it's you can carry it around. What do you call it?
Portable.
Portable. Has a very bright light. It's not the best for filming because this one has a very wide lighting area. The other one just has like,
it's very narrow.
Very narrow, but it's fine when you're working on yourself. Actually, it's very good, the other lamp. I'll give you the link. I use it very often, actually, the other lamp. But for filming, it's a little weird. It casts too many shadows. So this is much better. But the fact that it's portable, it's the other one, it's excellent. And you can just recharge it, right? And it's interesting because the other one has also the UV portion or option, and I had people ask me if I use it as a UV lamp, and I never do.
No.
I just don't believe that that's a correct thing to do. You need to use lamps that go with the system. But all right, so now just the sides, you know, And when you're using the cream, this is going to be very easy step, and this is not instead of the cream, this is just to like perfect that skin, because these little corners, I don't know, personally, if they don't drive you crazy, if there is no dry skin, well, if there's no dry skin, if there was no hard skin, then don't worry about it. Again, I'm doing this portion a little bit quicker. If you want to know more details about all these steps, just go back to the first video. And now the trick part. So, doesn't matter which file you're using, just use a buffer. Go over that area. This is like a sponge file, they call it. And you will not have any catches. You will not have any sharp areas. So I'm just filing the side, the free edge. I'm not filing the top of the nail. Let's see. Because of this being a sponge, it kind of hugs the nail and it really bevels it nicely. You can do it this way, however you want it. So now the skin around the nails, which a lot of people confuse. They call it a cuticle, but this is not a cuticle. This is just skin fold, actually, right? Because the skin actually folds around here. And this is a skin fold. This is the edge of the fold. Cuticle is not really visible. But because the skin is healthy now, we can nudge it back gently. And I'm barely, am I pressing on the nail?
No.
No. So as you can see here.
Gentle.
Okay, so I did a close up to show you. So what I'm doing is I'm just nudging very gently because I can, okay? Because the skin is elastic and it's allowing me to do so. And that actually exposes the cuticle. So the cuticle here is that white, you see? That white part. That's a cuticle. So I like nudging the skin around the nails without using any softeners or cuticle removers. And why? Because I want to almost separate the fold from the cuticle. If I apply now the cuticle remover on the nail, it's going to soften the cuticle. And then when I go to push back, I'm just going to shove all that cuticle under the skin fold, which I don't want to do. So what I'm doing now is I'm just nudging back the skin fold. And that can be done on a regular basis, once every couple of days. And I think the question that I get the most is, well, when I nudge it back, it goes back to its original shape.
Meaning that you'll push it back and then it goes back to where it was.
Yeah, but I don't even want to use the word pushing because people take it too far and they're just like separating the whole skin fold. Nudge. So think of it this way. You know, you're trying to go to the gym to get stronger. And you go the first time and you're like, well, I lifted this weight and I'm still weak. Because you have to keep lifting.
Not just weak, but weak sauce.
Weak sauce.
Weak sauce.
You have to keep lifting on a regular basis in order to see results.
And to maintain.
Exactly. So same thing like, you know, going to a language class. I went to a language class and I still don't speak the language. Well, it takes time. You have to practice, right? So that skin is stretched. Okay, think of pregnancy. Think of a stomach, right? Like how the skin stretches. Of course, once you have the baby, the skin is still going to be there, but it's going to shrink. So when that skin is healthy, and this is why It's so important for the skin to be healthy, because once the skin is healthy, it has the elasticity to shrink back. The key is to first make sure that that skin is elastic and healthy, and then just nudge it back. And when it's nudged back, it's going to allow that skin to shrink back. And then there's not going to be anything to cut. The only reason for removing the cuticle is to really, it's an aesthetic reason. So you want to remove this little skin when you want to apply a nail polish nicely and neatly. Because right now, if you want to apply the polish, you're going to try to put it as close to the skin fold as possible, right? So you don't see the grow out. But when you have this cuticle here, this is not going to be a very nice, clean application. So the only reason why we really remove the cuticle is for aesthetic reason before nail polish application or any enhancements, but we're talking about natural nails here. So if you're not polishing your nails, you really don't have to do this step. All you have to do is just keep nudging the skin and taking care of the skin and just shaping the nails, and your nails are going to be beautiful. But I'm going to show you how to remove the cuticle. So I'm going to put it on a nail plate because that's where the cuticle is. So put one drop.
Let's spread around.
Actually, it just, yeah, it moves around. One drop, side to side.
Yep.
And you're going to do one hand because it's very difficult to work with.
To try and do both your hands at the same time.
No, it's too messy.
Yeah.
So now you're going to give this product 2 minutes to work. So the product, what it's going to do is going to soften up the cuticle that's on the nail plate. So it allows you then to use a tool. And if you're a beginner, just use a very gentle tool. Then you can remove it from the nail plate. Okay, so now, very important step. This has to be rinsed. It's just kind of going like this. Just make sure that the product is off the skin. Okay. Now you just want to just dab off the water. It doesn't have to be perfectly dry. Actually, that little bit of water helps. So now I know that that cuticle is on top of the nail. So what I'm going to do is just going to, with the side of the little stick, lift it off. So this is going to be a very gentle way of removing the cuticle. I normally use a metal tweezerman pushing, but it is better when you are starting to use this very gentle tool. So I'm doing these little circles because you are less likely, because you're learning the pressure, right? And you're less likely to really create damage to the nail. If you want to see how I use the tweezerman pushing tool, I have a video on how to remove the cuticle. I find doing this with the towel helps. Now, very important step, because I get awesome questions from you guys. So some people say, well, I don't have that skin fold stretching or anything like that. Do I still need to nudge it? No, you don't. If you don't have issues with it, then don't. But I find a lot of people do. So this is why I talk about the nudging. But if you don't, and I know people that don't, then don't worry about it. By the way, be very gentle with your thumbs when you're doing this, because he has tendency to get this waviness. And that comes with putting pressure on this very, very soft new nail, actually, because this is where the nail is actually being formed in this area, this lunula. This is part of the matrix, actually. So you don't want to be pressing too hard. And at this point, sometimes you will see these little pieces of nail. We call them skirts, as you can see here. So you can just grab the buffer and just kind of go like this to get them out. Sometimes a file. By the way, be very careful about cleaning underneath the nails, because it's very easy to break that seal underneath. So we have 4 seals really. One is the cuticle area. This is where the cuticle is actually in between the skin fold and the nail, and the cuticle seals these 2 areas so the pathogens cannot enter underneath the skin fold. Now the sides are also seals, and the bottom, the hyponychium, is actually a seal as well. So you don't want to be breaking on any of these seals. And I've seen people lately having this area very separated, and that happens. I actually have it on my nails, sometimes from biting, and then this can become permanent, or just from filing the wrong way. When you're filing like really into this area, the seal can break, or sometimes from having enhancement and really filing on top of the nail. So just be careful. I'm going to repeat the same step on this hand. Now, I've received quite a few questions, still getting these same questions, so I am going to address them again. A lot of people have, again, that skin very stretched or cracked, or just, very messy looking. I would not be advising to go to this step of cuticle removal until this skin is nicely trained around the nail, so the skin fold is sitting nicely and it's healthy, okay? Otherwise, the skin around the nails is still not going to look correct. Like, the skin needs time to heal and to sometimes recede a little bit. So personally, if you're trying to achieve just a nice manicure hands, if that skin is cracked, stretched, crusty, callous, whatever, heal that skin first, then start nudging. And after the skin fold is receded, if this is what you want to achieve, obviously, if it's sitting nicely around the nails, only then start to remove the cuticle. Rinse, rinse. So what I'm doing is making these little circles, trying to really push off the dead skin cells, so the cuticle, off the nail plate. And I'm not pushing it back. I'm not trying to shove all those skin cells under your skin fold. So I know the industry always, people tell you, push back the cuticles. But why? So what they mean is, I guess, nudge back the skin fold. But very often the skin fold and the cuticle are the same thing. And it cannot be the same thing. It doesn't make any sense. You can't have 2 pieces of skin with completely different function be called the same thing. By the way, when you are using the Kerasal ointment, that would also help you, it will exfoliate the skin. So it will loosen up the skin cells. So the cuticle as well. They're going to be much easier to remove. Sometimes people get these little catches. And sometimes if you can leave them alone, I would leave them. If you're going to pick them, it's better to sometimes snip it. But this doesn't mean that you can go around and just, you know, cut your whole skin fold off. Okay. Sometimes there are these little pieces. So it's very important to keep the blades very protected. So what you can do is just wash these with soap and water. You can spray them with alcohol, whatever. And then you will always want to keep them in these because you hit the end once and they're garbage. And now this is the last step. Again, I repeat that many times. You don't have to, but this is very important. You don't have to apply this much oil every time you use oil. I only do this after a manicure. I don't know why, I just like it. And then I go underneath as well. Okay, the other hand. Okay. Now you can actually wipe the excess off or just rub it into your hands, the oil.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and in the meantime, I'm going to show you how much oil I use. So 1 drop. Okay. And I try to do this after each hand wash. So grab it like this, like this, like this. Because when we're washing our hands, we're washing all the precious oils in our skin, off our skin. And the oils are what keeps our skin together. And we're just replacing the oils that we washed off. So a very small amount is needed. And when you do this after each hand wash, it makes the most sense because very often people are asking how often to do it after each hand wash. Alrighty, so the manicure is done. I think that was pretty simple, no?
Mm-hmm.
So if you are interested, maybe next time.
We'll do part 3.
Yeah, of him actually doing his own manicure. How about that?
I think we'll stop at part 2 then.
Okay. Let us know what you think, guys. Bye.
Bye.